Ultron, Marvel Rivals' newest strategist, has finally landed, and all of a sudden, everybody wants to be a strategist main. And luckily enough for you, I'm here to teach you everything you need to know in order to play Ultron like a pro. We're talking about abilities, synergies, playstyles, everything you need to know in order to master this hero. And before we dive in, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It greatly helps out the channel, really helps me to keep making these videos and keep going. And if you don't, you'll never be able to lock in Ultron. But with that out of the way, let's dive straight into the abilities. His primary attack is titled Encephalo Ray. Now this primary attack shoots out a short burst of energy with 6 total charge. And for a strategist, it honestly does quite a lot of damage, which is actually surprising. And because of this quote-unquote surprising damage, we're going to be playing him a little bit different than the other strategists in the game. But more of that later on in the video. Now Ultron's secondary attack or secondary ability is the Imperative Firewall. It summons drones to grant bonus health to nearby allies, centered on Ultron and the ally marked with Imperative Patch, and it's great for holding different types of objectives. Now, unlike different strategists in this game, this ability is kind of used to use it and then forget about it. Another reminder, I'll be talking about the playstyle and healing rotation a little bit later in the video. Now let's talk about Imperative Patch, which is his other healing ability. This for mouse and keyboard is on the default button of E. What you do is you command a giant drone to follow an ally, constantly healing allies within its radius, with additional healing for the designated ally. Now the best way to use this is by putting it on your most problematic teammate in your match. And by most problematic, I'm talking about the person that's going to be receiving the most amount of damage. Now, unlike Lunastone's Snowflake, who you typically put the Snowflake on anyone diving or flanking the enemy, it's probably going to be a lot better to put your Imperative Patch onto your frontline Vanguard, mainly because that Vanguard's going to be receiving more healing and it's going to be constantly healing allies within its radius. And for the most part, you're usually playing around your Vanguards or within that radius, so it's a good idea to put it on them. But of course, you can always move it around when need be. Now let's talk about his movement ability, and this is Dynamic Flight. When you press your movement button, whatever it is, you quickly dash in the direction of said movement. This allows you to escape from some sticky situation when need be. I'll also throw the passive in there because the passive is that you're literally flying. It's a flying strategist. So having these two abilities mashed together into one character, in theory, your survivability should increase. But to be warned, because you are a flying hero, you have to worry about certain heroes like Hela. Now let's talk about his ultimate ability, Rage of Ultron. After activation, you summon Ultron's drones to fire Encephalo Rays, which either deal damage to enemies or heal allies. But let's be honest, we're all going to be using it to deal damage. Now, Ultron's team-up ability is with none other than Iron Man himself. The team-up is called Stark Protocol, in which Ultron gains the ability to use Iron Man's Unibeam for a powerful piercing blast that damages enemies and heals allies. Now, I will say that this team-up Stark Protocol is what really enables Ultron. By dealing damage and healing at the same time, making it very useful and very beneficial to have a teammate play Iron Man for you. Now, even though Iron Man was slightly tweaked in Season 2.5, I believe that the Ultron player will benefit greatly with having that team-up ability. And not to mention that it also gives Iron Man a damage boost. So basically, you're enabling one strategist on your team to deal more healing and more damage, and you're enabling your DPS to do more damage. So it's kind of a win-win, no-brainer. Now, if you're picking up the hero for the very first time, you might be wondering, how exactly do you heal as this character? You don't heal with your primary fire, so what do? And to get optimal healing, you have to look back at the abilities. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you want to first look at Imperative Patch, which is your E ability on mouse and keyboard, or your ability 1. And again, you command a giant drone to follow an ally, constantly healing allies within its radius, with additional healing for the designated ally. And you might be thinking, cool, that's pretty straightforward. What am I learning from this? That's where the second ability comes in, and that's Imperative Firewall. What this does is you summon drones to grant bonus health to nearby allies, centered on Ultron and the ally marked with Imperative Patch. That means in order to get the most out of your healing, or the best healing out of Ultron, you first want to start off by putting your patch on whoever needs the healing. Now, of course, you could also throw it on anybody whenever they need it, but after using your Imperative Patch, you didn't want to follow up by using your Imperative Firewall, which is your right mouse button on mouse and keyboard, and probably one of the triggers on controller, because activating it will give bonus health to the nearby ally centered on Ultron and the allied marked. Now, if you don't really understand that, think of it this way. When activating that ability, you, Ultron yourself, will have a AoE healing for yourself and your nearby allies. And maybe at the same time, you have another player marked. And maybe they're out of Ultron's personal AoE. This pretty much allows you to heal your backline and your front line simultaneously, while still being able to output damage with your primary attack. Now, after all of that explaining, if I didn't explain it right or you didn't really understand it, then here's the basic thing you need to know. First, use your imperative patch, which is your E ability on mouse and keyboard, then use your secondary attack. That's how you get the most healing out of Ultron. Now let me go one step even further to talk about imperative patch even more. Now this serves as Ultron's core support tool, enabling him to heal allies regardless of the distance. This makes him exceptionally effective at sustaining mobile teammates such as divers, flankers, and aerial heroes. Think Venom, Spider-Man, Iron Man, or even the Thing. Again, similar in a way to Luna Snow's Snowflake. Now again, imperative Firewall enhances this utility further by granting bonus health to any ally marked by imperative patch, bolstering their survivability during aggressive pushes or when contesting objectives. So if the enemy team is playing some sort of diving hero, then it's probably a good idea to bolster up your other support that's very vulnerable. Think of heroes like Adam Warlock, Mantis, Invisible Woman, pretty much all the other strategists in the game that might need a little bit more help when trying to counter dive heroes. Now before we dive into playstyle, let me just take 1 minute of your time to talk about today's sponsor that allows me to make these videos, and that's Control. Control has you covered, and personally I'm all about their peanut butter pieces cookies. Seriously, they taste amazing and they fit perfectly into my daily routine. Whether it's a quick shake in the morning or a protein packed snack in the afternoon, Control's products are both macro friendly and ridiculously tasty. And now they've got 2 new must try products. First off is their Monster Cookie, a soft baked protein cookie loaded with white and milk chocolate chips plus crushed cookie pieces, and it tastes ridiculously amazing. And if you're more of a protein shake friend, they have a Paradise Potion Shake. It's a refreshing mix of sweet coconut and tart pineapple blended into and it's honestly fantastic. Now Control's snacks and shakes are designed to fuel active lifestyles, whether you're hitting the gym, gaming for hours, or just need a convenient, nutritious option. If you're looking for your next go-to protein shake, check out Control's website using the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. And don't forget, use code DUCK at checkout to save 10% on order. But anyways, back to the video. Sorry, now let's finally talk playstyle. His playstyle is very interesting. It kind of works in similar fashion to that of Adam Warlock, and you might be wondering, how is he similar to Adam Warlock? Adam Warlock's on the ground, Ultron is flying. Adam Warlock has a hit scan attack, while Ultron literally shoots a freaking beam. Now, I say they're similar because they shouldn't be viewed as a traditional strategist-styled support like a Cloak and Dagger or Luna Snow. Much like Adam Warlock, his true strength lies in his versatility. Ultron can pump out some serious damage while simultaneously providing crucial sustain to his team. Now, one of, if not the best or most optimal way to play Ultron is with a semi-aggressive adaptive mindset, oscillating between frontline engagements and backline protection. He excels at both initiating or following up on his teamfights and keeping high-risk allies alive as they dive deep into enemy territory. Now, something to keep in mind is that Ultron's basic attack delivers rapid bursts of laser damage. Now, besides decent damage, Ultron's primary attack pretty much has unlimited range. Yeah, you heard me, unlimited range. Now, it's not specifically mentioned, but it does feel like it's unlimited. Now, that's besides the point. This extended reach allows him to pressure enemies from a safer distance while maintaining sustained damage output, making him a formidable presence in mid to long range skirmishes. And I will say, with this offensive capability and flexible kit, Ultron is well positioned to function as a hybrid, bridging the roles of support and flanker depending on his team's needs and the flow of battle. Now, besides that, positioning is a major factor when it comes to this hero. While yes, he is flying constantly in the air, he's a little bit slower in comparison to the other flying heroes in the game, so it's definitely something to be aware of. Now, it wouldn't be a Duck Films guide video if we didn't talk about the counters that you need to be looking out for when you're playing Ultron. And the first one is probably one of the most obvious ones, and it's going to be Hela. Now, Hela is one of, if not the best anti-flying hero in the entire game. We know this for a fact. Even after the semi-buff in Season 2.5, where instead of 8 primary shots, she now has 10, she is still public enemy number 1 for any Ultron player. Now, the best way to play against a Hela when it comes to this character is playing close to walls. Now, you kind of use the same exact technique when you're playing the Human Torch into a Hela, staying as close as you can to a wall while still maintaining some sightlines to your teammates so you can heal them when need be. And if you're playing against a Hela and you're out in the open, there isn't necessary cover right next to you. You're always going to be wanting to keep an eye on your dynamic flight ability. This is going to allow you to give you that quick burst of movement to try to get behind some type of cover to try to protect yourself from Hela while you heal up. Besides that, that's really all you could do against a Hela when it comes to playing Ultron. Now, following that, two of the biggest heroes I had problems with when I was playing the early access was Iron Fist and Star-Lord. And these guys are relentless chasers. Even when I'm playing as Ultron or you're playing as Ultron and you use your dynamic flight ability to try to run away, both of these heroes can still chase him thanks to their high mobility and fast movement speed. Because after you use your 8 seconds of dynamic flight, it goes on cooldown. And the cooldown is a little bit long. It's 8 seconds. It might not seem like a lot, but when you're getting chased down by a Star-Lord and an Iron Fist, that 8 seconds feels like an eternity. Now, another solid counter that I found when it came to playing as Ultron is Punisher. After the recent changes in Season 2.5, Punisher is a little bit more annoying now. Although he did lose his infinite ammo, not the end of the world, Punisher received 10 more ammo capacity to his primary rifle and received a 1 damage increase. If the said Punisher player has decent tracking, he can easily shred down an Ultron. That's why when we're playing as Ultron into a Punisher, we're applying the same exact tactics as we are against a Hela. If we're in the open, using our dynamic flight to dip behind cover and just trying to play as close as we can to any sort of cover or anything like that. Another character you're going to have to worry about is Spider-Man. Let's be honest, Spider-Man can be very annoying for flying characters. For Storm, Human Torch, Iron Man, any one of those. That Spider-Man player is quite literally taking candy from a baby. And although Ultron does have some self-healing and can give himself a little bit of an overshield or bonus health, whatever you want to call it, he can't necessarily survive that one-shot combo. From my experience, you survive on about 5 HP, and you have to pray he doesn't have good aim to land another right click, and he's not close enough to land another left click. This character is very team-oriented. You have to play close to your team to get the maximum effect of his utility. Now, another character that can be seen as a counter is Hawkeye. Now, even though Hawkeye isn't necessarily a hit scan character, he's still a menace to some of the flying heroes, mainly for the fact that all it takes is one 100% charged headshot and you're back at the respawn screen. Now, one more counter that I experienced with this character was actually Mr. Fantastic. Now, I'm not sure if it's because the Fantastic that I was playing against was absolutely cracked out of their mind, but I felt like Mr. Fantastic can be a nightmare to an Ultron, mainly because Mr. Fantastic can close the gap towards Ultron even when he is trying to run away. His stretchy arms can also reach long range even when Ultron is flying away. And if you manage to get Ultron's dynamic flight ability out and you pull him in after, then Ultron is pretty much as good as gone. And I guess that can also be said with the Winter Soldier. And that was quite literally everything you need to know about the new hero Ultron in Marvel Rivals. And if you're looking for some more Marvel Rivals content, make sure to subscribe and check out the channel. I have tons of Marvel Rivals content, whether it's coaching, guides, hero guides, strategy, everything you need, this is your one place stop. So make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new. I hope you have a great and safe day, and I'll catch you in the next one.